Okay, so everybody decides to bring their children into their drama in this episode. Go figure. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for If Loving You Is Wrong. This is season 5, episode 8. This is the kids edition. Everybody brought their kids into their mess in this one. But whatever. We don't talk about it. Alex and Randall. Okay, so y'all know what was actually going on, honey. Miss Alex was busting him down, honey. And then she basically gets up, wipes her mouth, honey, and turns the tables on him. Basically treat him like he's the woman, and a disgruntled one at that, honey. She told him, I've been playing you since day one. You are so stupid. You are so stupid. He said up to her, I hate you and all this. Get out my house. Then she gonna go get the rubbing on him again. I said, oh, she really do got your number, Randall. Ain't that a mess? Filthy slut. I said, go ahead, girl. Then she's trying to steal his credit card. I was like, oh, wow. So literally the way in which he was treating Marcy, Alex has been treating him. So, listen, turnabout is fair game, honey. Anyhow, moving on. So as they go out, they're leaving and everything. She's leaving the house. Alex and Randall run into Eddie outside. He's like, you called in an assault. An assault on who? He's like, Natalie. He starts up with this old racist mess with this you people this and you people that. And I was like, you know what? He's doing the most. And Randall kept telling him, you know what? Get out my damn face, Eddie, and go on about your business. So he kept on aggravating him. Then finally, Randall goes on in the house. Alex argues with Eddie for a little bit, telling him, I don't want that life, blah, 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 blah. Of course you do. Tyler drugged the scene out. It all ended up, Alex ended up stealing Eddie's patrol car and running off with the car. Eddie calls the station, calls it in, and says that 3 black people stole his car. And she on the CB, talking about, these lying, what the black people, this is me. This is Alex. This, that, thing, and the other. She took the car around the corner and parked. Took the car around the corner and parked it, went on about her business. I said, you know what? A whole mess. A whole mess. And the woman who was actually taking the call, she was like, Eddie, something or other. And he was talking all smart to her. She was like, this is ridiculous. And then he kept going on with all this little racist stuff. She said, you do realize I'm a black woman, Eddie? He told her, of course you're black. You work an old $9 job. I said, you know what? He's a whole mess. And a lot of that, I'm like, he's too much. So somebody going to find Eddie stinking somewhere. Anyway, after that, Eddie goes in there dealing with Brad. And I don't understand why Brad... It might end up being Brad that kills Eddie. That would be interesting. Because he's always pushing him. And he pushes him around. I don't like it. He just runs Brad. But anyway, he goes in there. He starts talking about the baby. He's like, what do you mean you taking the kids? You going to keep all the kids? Even that little bastard? Child, take him on down there to Children's Services and leave him so somebody can go ahead and get him and go on about your business. I said, oh my. It's total disrespect when it comes to that baby. Total disrespect when it comes to that baby. It was ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to talk about that more later. Then he sits up and says he wants to stay there with them. Because if Alex ain't coming back, he going to be staying there. Oh, I'm just going to stay here. I'm going upstairs and find me a room. It was a whole mess. And Marcy's like, what do you know? You don't act like you don't know nothing. You're going to say, I know A, B, C's. Assholes, bitches, and cocaine, baby. And then start talking about Marcy's ass. I said, just disrespectful. It'd be very interesting if the turnabout is that Brad ends up killing Eddie. I would be here for it because Eddie's simple. He needs somebody to tear him up. Anyway, so we get Esperanza. She decides she wants to introduce Steven to her daughter. I said, well, this is quick. Okay, cool, no problem. So they go through all that. We'll get back to it. Ian ends up talking with Larry. Larry, this was a whole long drawn out scene. Listen, I ain't going through all that, Tyler. This is what happened. Larry gets Ian's phone, starts playing with his phone, looks at, and Carl, the DA, not district attorney, Carl, the little young guy, little intern child, called, and Larry's like, oh, you told me you wasn't dealing with him. Well, then he fires him. It went on and on and on, trust me. Tyler was dragging it out. Public defender, that's what he was, the PD, the public defender. He ends up firing him, and he told him, you know I'll bury you, Eddie, right? And Eddie was like, really? I'm not worried about it. And that's Ian's thing. Ian's standing on that. He's like, I know where all the bodies are buried, you know, whatever. I was like, child, again, shut your mouth, Ian, because you don't have a poker face. You don't have a poker face, and this is why you always get into trouble. Kaufmans don't tell Gimmels their business. Just hush, and then do what you're going to do, stupid. Moving on. Now, Brad's kids come home. So, these kids aren't little anymore. I'm looking at, and they funny. They some funny looking little kids, but he brought them on in there. You know, they just as green like him. But they tell him, we not little no more. We understand. And are y'all two dating? And when is mommy coming back? Oh, she ain't coming. Okay, well, she ain't coming back. All right, cool. Now, this is what I'm saying. Nobody interacts with this baby at all. Have any of you all noticed that? Nobody interacts with the goddamn baby. Now, I mean, I understand he half black and all of these things, but nobody interacts with the baby. Kids aren't like that, Tyler Perry. Now, where you? I don't know what kind of mess this is, because kids, any children, I don't care if they're little, big, got different race. It doesn't matter. Any children that live in a house where there is a baby and the kids go out either to play or go to school or to the store or wherever, anytime they spend time outside of that house, when they come in the house, they interact with that baby. Kids interact with kids. And kids like littler kids. They do. That is just natural. They always interact with the babies. They always do it. They always do it, little boys and little girls. When there is a little baby in the house, an infant, the other kids, if the adults don't do it, and adults do it too, I don't understand it. But everybody goes for the baby first. That's just the way it is. It's the way it is. When there's an infant in the house, everybody and everything caters to the baby. If you got a dog, the dog will interact with that baby. If you have a dog in the house, that dog will protect that baby. That dog, if you have a dog and the dog goes outside, when the dog comes back in, the first thing the dog does is look for the baby. If there's a baby in the household, check it out and see what I'm saying. I know what I'm talking about. Everybody is wired that way naturally. Well, everybody's supposed to be wired that way naturally. People who don't, that's what we look at them and say, everybody and everything protects infants. They're drawn to infants, to little people. Everybody. Little kids. Little kids. It could be a 1-year-old. A 1-year-old is trying to see what's going on with a 6-month-old. That's just the way it is. And nobody in this story interacts with that baby at all. That baby is just in the world all by himself. I don't know what that's all about, but it's horrible. And at this point, if they can't do no better than that, the baby need to be somewhere else. Because he can raise it his damn self. They don't know, they think he dead, he over there sleeping shit. I'm like, what kind of shit is this? Anyway, moving on. Esperanza, her daughter shows up Child, we found out right away. Honey, her daughter's a nasty little smart mouth little heifer, honey. She get to going. Eddie done told all kind of lies about Steven to Mika. And honey, Mika was going off to she get out. Talking to him real bad, told him to get out. Told her mother, you're a whore. I can hear you and him having sex, and I'm just sick of it. This, that, and the other. And honey, Steven said, handle that, I'm gone. He left. He left. Well, she said, he be looking at me, and my dad told me he'd be looking at me when I'm at school. I said, what? Child, a whole mess. So Steven was like, oh, y'all got all this bullshit. I'm gone. He left. She gets talking to Esperanza. Esperanza's going back and forth to her. Don't you do that. You don't talk to my friend like that. This, that, and that. Honey, Mika told her, she said, girl, I won't talk to him at all. I won't talk to him at all. And I don't want to talk to you, whore. Honey, and Esperanza smacked her goddamn face. I said, oh. She went in there and called Eddie, honey. He told him. She smacked me, honey. He told her, take a picture. Take a picture and keep on speaking your mind. You don't have to talk to her at all if you don't want to. I said, oh, Eddie. No. Then in the midst of that, then Justice comes in and give Natalie the blues. He out there fighting. He was fighting with some kids or whatever. And Natalie's like, what's going on? You know, he just ain't got no patience. He loses patience. About, y'all keep telling me it's going to be all right. Where's my mother? This, that, it. Okay, Justice, we get it, but you need to shut up and sit down. Because if it wasn't for Natalie, where would you be? Sit your ass down. I said, honey, the kids is really acting up on this little episode. A mess. I'll talk to y'all later.